Here's some more recent reads. Let's get to them. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Zach with Zacks Books, and today I've got for you another recent reads. So, I've got 4 more books I'm going to talk about today that I read in the past couple days that I thought were good, and I think there's one that was like mediocre. But I'll talk about that one in a minute. If you haven't watched yet, this previous Monday our podcast was launched, and it's been really exciting, and it's been a cool build-up, and I've really enjoyed the process so far. So if you have not checked that out yet, go look it up. It's Books and Stuff. We'll have it linked down below for you. So take a look at it, check it out, give it a thumbs up. Also, if you like stuff like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get to the books. Alright, the first one I'm going to talk about is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. So, this is about in the future. I don't remember what year it was. But in the future, firemen do not put out fires, they start them. Which I think is it's a cool premise. This book actually was not good. To me, it was not good. I really didn't enjoy it. After I read it, I originally told Danielle I was going to give it 3 stars. But I really think this is only like a 2-star book for me. I just didn't get the hype with it. I really just didn't enjoy the book. I didn't understand what was going on. I was told the premise about what it's about firemen in the future, and instead of putting out fires, they set them. But other than that, that's all I was able to really take from the book. I feel like there is some other backstory in it, but it didn't grab me. It didn't intrigue me enough to want to follow the whole story. All I really got was, like I said, it's the future. Firemen start fires. They don't put them out, and they start them with books. So that's all I really get out of it. I just really didn't enjoy the book, and maybe if I do a reread of it, maybe it'll end up being better. All right, the next book I read was The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. This is a book that I read in high school many years ago. It's been 6-7 years. And I wanted to reread it again, and Danielle ended up reading it too. I don't know what she ended up rating it, but I gave this, she gave it 5 stars. I ended up giving this 4.5 stars just because of the ending. And even though I've read the book many times, I just really don't like what happens. I don't want to spoil the book. Obviously, it's a really old book, so if you've read it, you know what happens, and you just hate to see it happen. And the movie that came out in 2013 with Leonardo DiCaprio, Tobey Maguire, I was able to put faces to the characters in here, and I was able to kind of follow it along a little better, which I enjoyed. I have seen parts of the old one. They showed it in class. I think the only part they showed, if I remember correctly, was the scene where they are in the hot room and they get the ice and they kind of start arguing with each other, and that's when Gatsby kind of loses his mind and threatens to punch Tom, and a whole bunch of stuff happens. But the ending to me always is what irritates me a lot in terms of what happens to a certain character. So I'm not going to spill any beans because I really am not, and I don't like to be that person to do that. But I really thought that character, I don't know, it's a tragic love story in my opinion. But what are you going to do? Otherwise, I gave it 4 stars or 4.5 stars. Just a classic book, really good book. So there you have The Great Gatsby. All right, so the next 2 I'm going to talk about were probably the best books I read in this recent reads. I kind of was doing them in an order. One of them we picked just because of time. It was kind of a shorter book, and we wanted to kind of keep it on the trend of a shorter-ish kind of book. And then we just kind of... The other one was another Danielle pick. So thank you for that. She tends to give me good thrillers, but she struggles with horror. But this was a thriller book, so luckily it was a good book. But that's not what I'm going to talk about now. I'm going to talk about Darcy Coates and the Floorcroft Ghosts. These next 2 are 5 stars. Yay! This was a really good book. So this is about a little... I don't know if they actually mentioned their ages. But it's about a boy and a girl who are sent to stay with their grandparents because their mom was in a terrible car accident. You find out some stuff towards the end of the book, but I'm not going to say that yet. Grandparents kind of seem sketchy as hell, and you're just kind of like, people are weird. And then they kind of start exploring the house some more. You kind of get some weird vibes. The grandma's like, yeah, you can't go in that room. And they're like, huh, why? She won't tell them. And then they just kind of start, going on. They go into this town, and while they're at the library, there's only one computer. The little girl's using it, and this woman comes up and is like, you're staying at the Floorcroft place, aren't you? Yeah, that grandma's, and then, their grandma cuts her off. She's like, ha, we need to go. And she goes, yeah, I beat her in a banking competition. She doesn't like me. And you're just kind of like, the whole time you're just like, okay, these people are seeming really, really sus. So, towards the end, you find out the truth about what happened. I honestly really enjoyed the twists in this book. Towards the end, in the last 50 pages, there's a solid chunk of twists that I can't tell you. So you're going to have to read the book to find out. But so far, Darcy Coates has been a really good author for me, and I'm loving everything I've read by her so far. Everything has been 4 stars or higher. So, yeah, this was a really solid book. Good twists. It's just creepy. It's an irritating book at points, but overall, really solid book, 5 stars. Darcy Coates, you're doing pretty good. I really am enjoying your writing. So there you have the Floorcroft Ghost. All right, the last book I'm going to talk about is the one Danielle recommended for me, which also got 5 stars, is Here and Gone by Helen Beck. I believe I pronounced the first name correctly. So this book is about a woman who gets pulled over by a police officer in Arizona, I want to say, is the state that they're in. And what happens is she's got her son and daughter in the car with her, Sean and Luis. And what happens is the cop pulls her over, says that you're dragging a lot of weight in the back of your car. And when he goes back there, without a warrant to begin with, just kind of pops the trunk open, and lo and behold, he finds a bag of weed in there. And she's like, that's not mine. Well, yeah, it is. Found it in your trunk. And then what ends up happening is a lot of bad stuff. Kind of starts, the officers pretty much calls her back up, says, hey, take the 2 kids somewhere safe while I take care of her. And you're just kind of thinking, okay, whatever. And then the cop, interviews later, and he's just like, yeah, there were no kids in the car. And you're just like, what? So it ends up taking a really dark turn to where the 2 police officers are in a scandal together where they are selling children to, I don't think it's some sort of mafia gang. It's some kind of gang somewhere where they're paying them a good amount of money. And I think the sheriff is getting paid $3 million. And the other one's getting, I think, $500,000. And so a bunch of stuff is kind of going on. The woman's being accused of it because of her past, where she had issues of alcoholism and drug use. And overall, it's a really solid book. And there's parts where you feel like it's one direction, where you're like, okay, yeah, maybe she is kind of bad with the kids. And then other parts, you're like, no, because the other people have the kids. And it's like, well, hang on now. What's happening? And there's lots of twists in the book. I absolutely love it. You kind of really hate the father at the beginning, and then there's some redemption towards the end. So overall, really solid book, 5 stars. I did enjoy the ending. Yes, because I was contemplating 4.5 stars and 5 stars, and it had to do with the ending. But I'm going to give this 5 stars. Really solid book. We'll have the ratings on Goodreads down below for all 4 of these books. And what's 5 stars? Really good book. We'll have this link down below if you want to check it out. Same with the other 3 books. If you want to check those out, we'll have those linked down below. But yeah, there you have Here and Gone. Alright guys, so these are the 4 books I just read recently. All of them were really solid books. I enjoyed all of them except for Fahrenheit 451. But all 4 of them will be linked down below if you are intrigued with reading any of them. I enjoyed them. It was a fun experience reading them. It was great reading Gatsby again. And the last 2 books were just phenomenal books. So they'll be linked down below if you want to check those out. Otherwise, you can also see my ratings on Goodreads. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out our Instagrams. We'll have those down below too, as well as the podcast. Again, I'll mention it again because it's a thing that's really cool. Check out our podcast. That'll be linked down below. But otherwise, this was fun. I enjoyed it. And again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And we will see you guys in the next video. Later.